I like the fit, bro.
Thanks, bro.
When did you start getting tattoos?
Started getting tattoos, honestly, in the peak of the pandemic.
In the peak of the pandemic, so
Probably
pretty late. How old are
pretty
you?
late. 26.
The fact that you had to think about that is crazy.
Yeah, bro. I felt like everything was shut down during that time. I couldn't find a tattoo spot. So I hit up, I went on IG and I hit up like 5 tattoo artists. And some dude, his name is Savak.
Yeah.
He responded. Like I emailed him. I emailed 5 dudes, and that's the only dude that responded.
Really?
So I was like, let's do it, man. And he was like, yo, I could book next week. So then when he said I could book next week, I was like, yo, I don't have that kind of money yet. So then, we ended up booking like around 6 weeks later, and then we got it started, man.
How big was the first tattoo that you got?
It was this David piece. It was about, I'll say, maybe 12 inches, right? My forearm would be about 12 inches. That was my first tattoo ever, but it was, it started.
The line work is crazy.
Yeah, he went hard, man.
Did he do both?
Nah, piece session by session. So this one was one session, this one one session, everything session by session. So I was like,
What? This looks like Greek.
kind of like Greek mythology, but more of Michelangelo.
Okay.
Basically, he did this is David piece, his Moses, and then I got a couple other stuff. But yeah, basically I really like the idea of Greek mythology, but I wanted this kind of like Christian theme. So
Okay.
like I got a Jesus piece on the top.
All right. So as usual, when you live with roommates, you get disrupted, and I just happen to live with one of the most noisy people I know. But I was talking about how I don't really plan any of my tattoos. It's kind of just a sporadic in the moment thing, and I want to ask you how you learned about that artist. Was it something that was kind of like that, something that just came out of nowhere, or was it somebody you've been following for a while?
Honestly, I've been following him for a while. I followed a couple of different shops. His shop was called Love Machine, and I found another shop called Bang Bang. So I was like, all right. So I basically hit up 3 artists from each. Basically, I hit up 6 artists from each shop. I mean, from 3 from one, 3 from Bang Bang, 3 from Love Machine. So with basically whichever responded first, I would ask more questions. And basically, his shoppers, he responded to my email, and I was like, yo, let's do it. Like, he was vigilant. Like a lot of other shops, you send them an email and it's like an automated message. But since it was him, I felt like, maybe at least to my understanding, it was him, and he was responding quick, and I was like, yo, let's do it. So then I planned it out and I did it. But honestly, at 26 years old, I was like, yo, I don't want ugly tats. I want something that's legit. You know what I mean? So I waited that long because I could have had a full sleeve a long time ago. I have a bunch of friends that tattoo, but
Oh yeah, exactly.
yeah. So I was like, you know what? I want to be strategic and do the right thing. Now
How strategic are you in life? Like, because waiting that long to start getting tattooed, and then when you decide to get tattooed, to really have a plan. Like, how much do you plan in life on everything? Like,
I plan a lot, and I think too much. I think a lot that might be too much, because sometimes I try to set up my life like, yo, I want this, this, and that, and if it goes a little different, if it goes, I start to get anxiety. I'm like, yo, if it's not working this way, then then it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I'll get like OCD, mental, like kind of be like an OCD. Like, yo, I wanted this, this, and that. I want to plan this, this, and that. And I feel like that's affected basically a lot of friendships, relationships that I've had because I wanted things to be a certain way.
do you feel like you put people on a pedestal because of the way that you're planning? In other words, I expect this to go this way, or I'm planning for this to go this way, so I expect this person to act this way, or I expect this action from this person.
100%. 100%. And I put it on this pedestal, and things will get, when things don't go, basically, like you said, when things don't go as planned, then it's like, yo, nah, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll expect so much from some certain people, and if it doesn't go that way, then it's like the highway. You know
What's
what I mean?
been your biggest reality check off of that?
Losing some good friends, losing good relationship, losing good people that's been around me, that have been there, but just because things are a little bumpy, basically I just let it go, and my actions, my reactions has been hurtful. You know what I'm saying?
In what sense? Like, do you feel like you lash out, or like you just kind of back? Like, I've been dating for a while, right? Like, when I feel like something's not going anywhere, I'm the type, unfortunately, to ghost a little bit. Sometimes I keep it a buck. Most of the time I ghost. And that's because I can't fake my energy, right? I can't change the person that I am. I can't change certain things about me. So I tend, if I feel like, you know what, this isn't working out, the texts start to get drier, the responding becomes a chore, and I kind of just back out until it goes from good morning to maybe a good morning to nothing. Like, but then I've had people who I'm straight up with, like, yo, this just isn't gonna work. Like, in these times where you feel like maybe either you're being let down or things aren't going to plan, so whatever. How do you approach it? How do you end these friendships, relationships, whatever it is?
Well, basically, I kind of just shut down. Like, I'll shut down and I'll get distant, and I'll get so distant, like I wouldn't want to talk about anything. And that's basically, let's say a relationship. Let's say you're dating a girl, and you just quiet all the time, or you're pensive. You're thinking, pensativo, like you're thinking a lot. Then they're like, yo, what's wrong with him? Why he's not talking? And then you just kind of like, you stop really caring. You know what I mean? You start being like, yo, whatever. Like, I started, like, honestly, when I disconnect, bro, that's honestly a flaw that I've been learning, low key.
Yeah.
I've been kind of like honestly, there's been a flaw, bro. I've been low key just chilling. I just be low, like,
How does it feel when people do it to you?
Horrible, man.
It hurts, right?
It hurts like crazy.
I say that because I'm the type. I'm really the type. Like I just said, like I'm really the type to start ghosting. But damn, when a person ghosts me, that shit hurts. Like, because I feel like it's a reality check. It's like the same way, let's say you plan or you put people on a pedestal. Like, maybe you ran into somebody who's doing the same.
Right.
And you just not that man, right?
Right.
So has that ever connected with you? Like,
yeah.
Oh, wait, maybe I'm putting too much on people. Maybe I'm not even that guy.
Right.
Like, has that ever connected with you? Because for me, that's happened a couple of times, to be honest. Every either relationship that I feel, or every time I let somebody down that I care about, I notice, like, I like to be very straightforward with my friends. I like to hold my friends accountable, and I like for them to hold me accountable. But when I'm called out on little shit, like let's say right here with my roommates, right? I have this flaw of just letting little things slide, right? Like, if I have a couple of dishes, or maybe more than a couple, just leaving them there for a couple of days, to me, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But when I get called out on that shit, it's like getting hit with a jab, right? So I could only imagine what it's like being on the receiving end of these jabs. Like, in other words, have you ever reflected on maybe how you ghosting people off of you putting people on a pedestal, or you having this plan, how much it's affecting other people?
100%. Because basically you don't know in terms of friendships, and you don't know really what you got till it's gone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then you start to reflect. Because, whenever, let's say you get off a relationship, you could be like, yo, I'm the man. Go meet up with different women, start talking to different women. But when you really face the four walls by yourself and really reflect, that's when you want to transform. Like, I don't want to keep this cycle of hurting people, because basically hurt people hurt people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, I was holding on to stuff like that. I was holding on to things of past, like, past things that didn't even have to do with that person. Yeah. And then you kind of like, they didn't do. Basically, you're bleeding on somebody that didn't hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just basically like you said. In terms of being in the other end, I feel like the biggest lesson on that is how you lose people that were good to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
How long have you been single?
Honestly, it has to be now maybe about 8 months, 9 months.
Do you feel like you've been doing that?
What do you mean?
Like, kind of
Reflecting?
yeah, exactly. Like you just said, bleeding on people that didn't cut
Nah,
you.
100%. 100%. So I've been single for a while, and honestly, I just the summer passed and you can have fun in the summer, but when it starts, the weather changes. That's kind of like the seasonal depression, bro. Like the season is just changed. It gets cold and you're like, yo, you calm down. You tate quieto. You know what I mean? Like you're like, yo, chill out.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize, yo, the party's over. Your friends, us getting older, our friends can't just chill with us. How back in the days in high school, yo, what you doing? Let's go hang out. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, yo, everybody's chilling with their old lady, with their girls and whatever. And it's like, yo, you start to think, damn, man, I don't want to be 50 and alone, bro. And it's like, until not that I'm going to just be with somebody just because. I got to really reflect, because you're going to keep repeating those same mistakes until you really face yourself. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, that's definitely something that I noticed. Like, I resonate heavy with that. The whole seeing your friends. Like sometimes when I look around and all of my friends are like busy because they're with girls, I feel like more alone than when I know, like, oh, I could hit my boy up. You know, when I know, like, oh, I could hit my yo, what's up? What you doing right now? Let's go do something, right? Because I feel like you're alone, but you're not alone. You have somebody kind of going through it with you. Now, that's not to say I don't want my guys to prosper in their relationships. I love it, right? But when I'm chilling with a shorty and it's me and shorty and we're locked in and I feel that, like, boom, like that connection, and my boys are hitting me up, they're second option, right? So I could only imagine like how much deeper it gets, how much more that pain like increases as time goes by, and when other factors come in, like that seasonal depression you talk about, that I do feel, where I want to be alone, but I don't want to be alone. You know, like you want to have a partner, somebody to be there, somebody that doesn't necessarily ask the most from you. You don't want to date. Dating is terrible. Like, I don't know about you, I do okay in the dating scene. Like, if I want to go on a date next week, I'm sure I could find something. But let's say going into this winter season, you kind of just want to be cuffed up. You want to skip that whole dating shit. So how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about being 100% single without having anything, being in some type of like situationship, and being in a full-blown relationship?
I mean, number one would be having a healthy relationship. You know, basically a relationship that's built on friendship. You know, we could just kick it. I'll say a joke. You'll know what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you'll get my humor. Like, I wouldn't have to explain myself. Let's say we all chilling and we cutting each other's ass. And I cut my girl's ass. She understands it's a joke. You know what I mean? Like, yo, we're going to start fighting. Yo, like, yo, for relajo. You know, chilling, bro.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like that's healthy. That's what builds a healthy relationship, which would be a solid friendship.
Yeah.
And the toxic stuff about, I don't want to be with, you know, basically, you know, the relationship is going nowhere, but you don't want to see each other with someone else.
Yeah.
That's toxic. That you're just arguing. You clearly know it's not going anywhere. And that's basically could take a huge toll on you mentally and your mental health, your physical health, and emotional health. And in terms of being single with nothing, like 100%, honestly, bro, I feel like, loco, that's my season right now, bro. Like, not TMI or nothing, but I've been like, yo, I gotta just chill, man. Like, I've been spending money, unnecessary money.
Yes.
Because, you know, you go on a date you don't know what's gonna happen. Like,
Of course.
you spend hundreds of dollars, probably won't even get a kiss that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I've been just like, yo, let me just pause, see what I'm doing. Let me get my money up. Because I'm strong on the quote that you'll lose money chasing women, but you'll never lose women chasing money.
Of course.
That's
not.
how I feel. So I'm like, yo, 5 years from now, 2 months from now, whatever it is, whenever I find that solid someone, bro, and so be it. But I just got to mentally be the best version of myself. Also, I got a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Got a son that's going to be 10.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Come on, bro. Bad producer, bro. Come on.
I actually love it. I mean, look, bro, like this is something that I was talking to George about. Like, most of the conversations that I've had with people that I know a really good amount, what's making this flow different is with every word you speak, I don't know what's going to be your next stop.
Yeah, that's cool.
So how is that then? Like, how is it dating? How do you break the ice on that? Like, oh, by the way, I know it's getting easier with age, right?
Right.
And I mean, you said you've only been single for 8 months, so before obviously you weren't dating. But let's say, is your ex the mother?
No.
So, did you already have the child before you met your ex?
Yes. So, yeah. So basically, when I had my ex, I had my son was, I think, 4.
Mm-hmm.
He was 4. So that was my first solid relationship since my son's mom.
So then, how was it?
The transition, like getting into that.
Well, in the beginning, let's say, right? You were much younger, obviously. Yeah. How was it telling women at a younger age, yo, by the way, I got a kid, versus now that you're much older and most likely a lot of the girls that you talk to either have or have dealt with people who have kids. How is it breaking the ice? Is it easier? Is it something you find a really big no? Or
well, back then it was a big like, yo, I don't know what to deal with. Like the woman was like a big like they wasn't sure, they wouldn't take me serious. Yeah. But now, which is different, is that they see how I am with my son, and we live in an era you never know what can happen. So if they end up pregnant, they know I'm gonna be a solid father. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that shows the quality of a guy I am. So they kind of like they like that. They say, oh, that's nice how solid of a dad you are. You know what I mean? But knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have a kid just to have a kid, bro. Like it's been almost 10 years that I had my son. So it's just basically like I'm winging it now and I'm still learning, but I do want to have more children in the future, pero no, like not like that. Like I don't want another baby mom. I would like a family. You get what I'm saying?
So I'm not a religious man, but I completely believe that the person that I'm going to have a kid with is somebody that I have to be married with, right? Somebody I have to love. And also I believe that I have to have a certain type of income and have a certain type of foundation before I have a kid. Now, I haven't wavered on that. As we age, I mean, shit, you know, certain expectations, certain plans, they get harder for you to accept that, yo, you might have to tone that shit down.
Right.
But let's say for yourself, a big planner, do you think that was something that kind of threw a wrench in your plans as far as having a kid, or were you kind of just, you weren't even at this type of mentality? Like, obviously you were much younger, but what I mean is, you're a big planner now. Do you think that you having this child, which I'm assuming was unplanned, I mean, if it wasn't,
for sure.
Do you think that that's what kind of turned that switch on for you? Like, okay, I can't just be out here doing reckless shit.
100%. 100%, man. I basically, having a child so young, man, you had to grow up fast. All my friends around me, bro, I feel like I'm 10 years plus than what I am right now. Because I had to, you know, 18 years old having to come up with formula, all that stuff, bro. That's a lot of money. Making what? 14 at the time I was making $14 an hour. That was a lot.
That's a lot.
And 10 years ago, and I thought I was killing it, but it's like
you was doing your thing.
You know, I was doing great. But that was tough, man. So that being said, man, I'm like, that did that did, that put a Russian, but that made me want to plan everything. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, right now I'm winging it. Right now I'm just learning still, because basically we're raising each other. You know what I mean? Like I was 18 years old when I had my child, bro. So imagine that, being 18, not even knowing who the hell you are.
Now I'm like, as a single dude with no kids, I feel like I kind of search. One, I love being alone, but I could only imagine that, at least knowing that I have something like a child, can be very. It kind of feels. I'm assuming that it feels like, at least I know I have my child. I have something to keep my mind busy, and not only that, but I have this love that I will never feel for anybody. Right? Does that make life easier? Let's say, like, you go through your breakup. At least I have my child. You go through a loss. At least I have my child. Do you feel like that kind of elevated your bottom? For example, a person who's all alone, my bottom might be way down here, depressive mode. A person who has a child, I could only imagine when you hit rock bottom, it's not as rock bottom as somebody that has nothing, right? Unless maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's like, oh no, wait, not only am I down, but I'm kind of letting my child down, right? Like, how do you feel? How is loneliness for you? Is loneliness a thing? Being that you do have that person? Like,
It's funny because you have that person, right? But you are feeling lonely. Like let's say you just went through a bad situation. You are feeling lonely. That person needs from you, so you gotta kind of like flip. You gotta heal fast. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're mentally or emotionally, you kind of gotta maybe not fake it. Kind of like fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Because they feel that. Like my son was like, "Yo, what's wrong, Dad? What's wrong?" But they know. Like you can't be like, I'm like, my son's big enough that I could say I'm good and he'll know I'm not good.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he understands social cues already. So that being said, I feel like, it does help having something, like you having something to live for. You know what I mean? Like I'm at work, or I don't feel like going to work, but my energy and I'm motivated. Like, yo, I got to do this. I got somebody that's looking out for me, So that does definitely play a big toll on motivation, on basically, I don't know what words to put it, but trying to like get yourself when you're down in the rut, get up fast.
Yeah.
Because basically you don't have time to waste. You know what I mean? And that could be a good thing or a bad thing too, because that's how I've been feeling. Like I get anxious in life sometimes because, I have my son, but it's like growing up, being like adulthood, bro. Don't you feel like, damn, I don't got crutches, bro? Like this is everything we're doing right now. Like work, where I'm gonna be if I don't go to work. If I don't have money, where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So that kind of fills an anxiety. But what gives me what gives me motivation throughout my anxiety would be my son. But that's what feels like. Remember I was telling you about before, my anxiety is just like, yo, like this is life, bro. You see, as a kid, yo, I can't wait to grow up. But you're like, yo, life is happening right now, bro.
Yeah.
Life is happening right now, and you know what I'm saying? That's like scary, bro. It's like, yo, if I don't pay my rent, who's gonna pay it for me? If I don't pay my bills, if I don't pay my car, who's gonna pay it? Nobody. Nobody's coming for you. You know what I mean? Except for you, and that's
that I could only imagine that shit is kind of elevated when you have a kid.
For sure.
But at the same time, it's a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I'm never gonna say it's a gift and a curse. When it comes to a kid, it's a gift, right? It's all about how you maneuver, right? And I can imagine for some people it's way too much, and that's when they step out. And but I like to say that the strong ones, the resilient ones, stay here and they do their thing, right? Like, cause you were an 18-year-old young man, and you stuck through, and look at you now, right? Like, you probably look at you. Sometimes you got to take a step back and you got to look at what the fuck you built, and the shit that you've done, and you got to be happy. Like, you got to be like, sometimes you're stunned, like, whoa, I don't even know what steps I took to be here, but I'm proud of myself, right? Like, as a person who's so much of a planner, like you said you are, I could almost guarantee that sometimes you still be like, nah, I've done all right. Like, I see the people around me, and I know that I'm providing for my child. I know that I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Now, what's the next step, right? But you're ready to tackle that next step. With that being said, what is the next step? Like, we had a little bit of conversation before this, about uh, about how important it is for you and myself, and I'm assuming our producer George, right, to stay on the move and to move forward. Have you ever thought of entrepreneurship? Have you ever thought of, like, what else you want to do outside of regular work? Like,
100%. I basically, that's another thing, you know, that I would say feeds to anxiety to an extent, because you're like, yo, I'm making such amount of money. What do I do with it? Or I got to invest in this, but then I got to take a step back and plan. You know what I mean? Like I said, I plan, but then when you plan, nothing really goes the way you plan it. And at least for me, that's what I'm learning as adulthood. But entrepreneurship to me, you know, I got a couple ideas. I would love to get into real estate for sure. I'm watching videos and definitely trying to get my foot in the door, but strategically, you know what I mean? Because getting yourself to a position that you save money and then you blow money, that's a hard come up, you know. But next for me would be like, you meant the near future or just in general?
I mean, in general, right? Like, because I know people that are comfortable in their jobs and they're comfortable with, I'm going to get here, stay here to 65, get my pension, retire, and that's going to be it. Not necessarily do you want to start a side business. Not necessarily do you want to do this, that, and the third. But long-term plan, like, what else do you want to build, right? Like, do you want to build anything by yourself? Because I'm noticing, right? Like, anywhere from Hispanic, and Black, and other like minorities, we're stepping up, right? We're stepping up to the plate. I'm noticing a lot of entrepreneurship. I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I'm seeing, and it puts a big ass smile on my face when I see Black and Hispanic people with advertisements talk about how to start a LLC, stuff like that, right? What has that ever come to your mind? Like, yo, you know what? This is great. I love what I'm doing. I would love to do this, like get an investment property, start my own thing on my side. Like, has that ever crossed your mind?
Nah, 100%. And that's things that I tell, you know, who's in the gym. I was with George, and I mentioned it. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. And I was like, you know, a job is basically just over broke. So basically, your lifestyle is based on that particular job. So if you have different forms of income, you get what I'm saying? Then you're better off like that. But if I buy this car, I'm paying $800 or $900 for my car note, and I lose my job, then what? You get what I'm saying? Then basically you're just over broke, or you lose your job, you're paying, who's going to pay your mortgage? But if you have different streams of income, you know what I'm saying? But society doesn't teach us that. At least they teach us, get a secure job, become a firefighter, a police officer, secure a pension. But they don't teach us everything else. They just teach us security. And I get that. You got to be secure. But nobody really gets rich off things, because if you go to school, right? You go to college, they teach you business, right? You go to a business school, ask your professor, how much businesses does he have? You know what I'm saying? None.
Yeah, of course.
Basically none. So it's like now, like you said, seeing like with social media, we basically have so much, all our information in this era is right in front of us. So basically, like you said, seeing all these ways to get LLCs or such and such, I'm seeing like, the information's accessible. You know, what do I got to do to get that? You know, and clearly I could see that. But yeah, and that's definitely what I would love to do, entrepreneurship, because having freedom. That's what people work for, right? You don't work just cause. You would love to have freedom, you know what I mean? And
Now, I feel like all of us in this room make a good income.
right.
Me, I like to keep myself educated in the world, and I like to keep myself educated in the next step, finances, philosophy, a bunch of other things, right? Most of all, I like to be in tune with what's going on. And one of the topics that I kind of touched on in the episode that I did by myself, the most recent one, is how women are killing it and men are kind of just playing catch up. And if they're not just playing catch up, they're kind of just falling behind completely, and they're bitching about it and complaining about it. You being a man who I assume is doing good financially, as far as it doesn't matter how much you make, you're taking care of stuff and you're doing what you got to do with whatever you got coming in, and you carry yourself a type of way. Are you running into women now that you're dating? Are you running what percentage of women would you say you're running into that it's surprising how much that they're killing it in life?
Bro, yo, man, these women right now, they're not, you know what I mean? They're in another level in terms of education wise. Yo, I meet a woman, I got my master's. Legit, I would date 8 women, 7 of them got their masters, bro.
Yeah.
2 of them will be in law school, bro. I'm telling you, right now, we gotta, like, I feel like men gotta play catch up, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, it's like, every women are, in all kinds of professions, doctors, lawyers, and then you see that they get there, you know what I mean? And I feel like right now, a lot of men will be intimidated. They'll say, yo, but to be honest with you, bro, if my girl makes more money than me, I'm happy about that. What could we do to build off that? What could we do better? That's, you know what I mean? So, well, when right now, like you mentioned, man.
Not only build off that, like, it's not a competition between me and you.
Right.
But I know you're locked in 100%, so I gotta be locked in 110%. Like, I gotta bring whatever the fuck I got inside of me to the table. Like, otherwise, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, if I'm talking to a woman that got her master's, that's doing her thing in her career, this is a person that's been locked in for a minute and didn't let any distractions get in the way. So me, as a person who's a high school dropout, got his GED, wasn't cut for high school, but continues to find a way to progress in life. If I say, yo, that goes back to the conversation we had before, right? If I start making $20 an hour and I start saying, wow, damn, this 401k looking fat at 30,000, or if I start saying, yo, they matching me on my 401k, and on top of that, I got 3 weeks paid vacation, like, and my bills is paid. And then a shorty comes up to me, oh, I got my own condo. I'm thinking about starting a business. I'm doing this, that, and the third. Or, oh, I got my master's. I'm doing this, that, and the third. Then I could go about it one or two ways, right? I could go about it like, oh, this woman is way too much, way too advanced. What the fuck am I doing here? And I could have a little dick and back out, right? Or I could sit here like a man and be like, all right, cool. Obviously, something about me interests this woman. Because I firmly believe that it is a stereotype to say that women only go for men that could provide for them, right? We're in a different age. Like, women can provide for themselves, but they still don't want a sucker, right? So I'm not going to be a sucker. Like, I'm going to move my ass up. And if you're here with me and I'm only making 20 and my 401k only has 30, then I appreciate that, and I see your masters, and I raise you a promotion, or I raise you a I just started a LLC, or I raise you a like, what can we work on together, right? I find that the men that allow themselves to be intimidated by a woman that makes more money than them are an example of people that need to grow up. They're boys. Once again, the topic that I touched on in the last podcast I did, and it's something that I like having these type of conversations with guests, and I want to continue to have these conversations with guests because it's something that it has to be weeded out, right? Like, especially in the Spanish community, because the women are killing it and the men are totally not. Like, not to call out anybody, but let's say you. How many people around you, like, or maybe not people in your immediate circle, but let's say that ratio that you got, like, you see men and you see women. I don't know, do you date mostly, like, do you have a type?
Honestly, I just like women that got something going, bro.
Yeah.
That's like my type. But in terms, you're asking like of race or something like that?
Well, yeah. Do you usually find yourself dating a certain type of woman?
Honestly, I love Latinas, bro. I love like Latinas, bro. There's something, una bachatica or something, like, yo, for real, bro. They're not like, I love, if I'm in the car, we put some Bad Bunny, you know what I mean? Like, that's the vibe.
And those Latinas are killing it.
Killing it. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing them killing it, bro.
And let's say the Spanish the Spanish brothers that we have around us, I'm noticing a lot of not killing it.
Nah, bro.
I don't know about you, but I'm noticing a lot of not killing it.
I'm noticing a lot of people, you know what I mean? We're all from Washington Heights, Bronx, right? So we're all basically fed the same kind of cards, honestly.
Yeah.
We could either go to high school, or we could go sell drugs, or we could go just be in our room and cry about our situation. You know what I mean? But basically, being around a group of solid men, that everybody got something going on. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm sure you got something going on. George got something going on. You know what I mean? And we're in situations that basically we got out of that mind state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, clearly none of us here is living with our parents, right?
Correct.
And I see, I seen people in Washington Heights, you see this, that they live with their parents and they have a Benz, BMW, and I'm like, come on, man, what's your priorities? You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with your car. Your car's fire. You know what I'm saying? But where's your priorities?
Where is your priorities? Exactly. Like, it's kind of like when you go through the projects and you see a bunch of, like, Mercedes-Benz and shit like that. But without staying too much on the topic, you kind of touched on something that I want to talk about. Do you find yourself dating Latinas because you're Latino, and how important is that cultural effect to you?
I'll be honest with you. It's important, yes and no. But if I were to meet anybody else that's another race but's open to the Latino culture, I'm open to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I feel like in terms of the Hispanic culture, there's something different about it. It's so warm. You know what I mean? Based on my experience.
Yeah.
It's like warm, you come to the crib, get algo, tiene hambre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Opposed to, other...
You a family-oriented
yes,
person?
Yes, 100%.
So how do you feel about somebody that doesn't speak Spanish, kind of meeting your family and stuff like that? How big of a deal breaker is that for you?
It could be a deal, to be honest. It's just about how she treats me to an extent. Because, bro, there's Latinas that don't speak Spanish, bro.
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot. There's, like, you see, back in the days, there was Puerto Ricans. Now there's this generation Dominicans that don't speak Spanish.
A lot, yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like that's not a deal breaker to me, but somebody that's basically open to the culture.
Yeah.
Because
a shorty that knows more Spanish than I do is fire. I feel like, or a shorty that knows more about the Spanish culture than I do is fire. At the same time, if you're gonna be on the opposite end, I love a shorty that knows R&B. I love a shorty that can send me some new tracks that I haven't heard. I love a shorty that can show me some culture. Like, yo, let's go to this museum. Let's go do this. Yo, I know about all of these spots, right? Not saying that a girl who's more on the Spanish side can't do that, but like something about the opposite sides is sexy to me. Like a girl that's very Spanish or Latina, or a girl that's very into like the American, African American roots, like R&B, rap, shit like that. That shit is fire to me. Like I kind of just like somebody who's in tune, right? I don't like not knowing. Like I don't like. You know my answer I hate? When you ask somebody anything and they respond with, "Oh, I like a little bit of everything," or "Yeah, I listen to a little bit of everything." No, like what are you into? I'm asking you a question, like, because I know that's kind of a throwaway question, but don't you feel like if you ask somebody, "Yo, what you doing?" and they say, "I'm home," right? You're like, that's not an answer. That shit is kind of trash. If you ask somebody, "Yo, what are you into?" and they say, "I don't know," like, as a person who plans stuff out, or a person who kind of, I feel like as a person who plans stuff out, you kind of have to have like something there, right? So when you get these vague answers, or when you get these kind of like type of things, does it make you start to feel like, oh wait, this person doesn't even have this part of, like, this person doesn't even know themselves that much. Like, how am I supposed to get to know them? Do you ever get that feeling? Or do you feel like, are you even interested in this conversation right now?
You see how you say that, right? Whenever I meet somebody new, let's say in terms of dating, I don't like to ask what do they do for a living, right? I like to ask them their passions. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times when you ask a person their passion, they're like, "What do you mean? I don't care what you do for a living." Like, that tells what a person does for a living doesn't really. It tells basically what they do, but it doesn't tell who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What are you passionate about? What are your views in terms of, oh, what's good with this? What do you think about this video? Or what do you think about Kanye? Or, stuff like that. Like, stuff like that makes you see how a person is. You know what I mean? Seeing what they are, like what the way they think.
Yeah.
And to me, I find that in terms of everybody, my friends, everybody who's around me, I like people that have something going on. Like, don't tell me, "Yo, I'm not doing nothing." You are doing something, man. You were scrolling. Oh, what you was watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But basically, what are you passionate about, or where your head's at, to me, is important in any kind of relationship.
And what is your answer when somebody repeats that question to you?
What am I passionate about?
Yeah.
To be honest, 100%. I'm passionate about growth, bro.
Yeah.
Growth in all aspects. Growth in the gym. Growth, because you never stop growing, man. That's how I feel. And as I'm getting older, you could aim for making such amount of money, but then what?
Yeah.
Where are you at? Like, you can make such amount of money, but are you balanced everywhere else?
Yeah, so basically, like, if you're hyper focused on your career and you're making $1 million a year, mm-hmm. but that's kind of all you got to you, then who cares, right?
Right.
Or like, kind of, where's your growth? You want, like, not that you want, but I'm assuming you're talking about like just natural growth in all aspects of life.
Yeah, what I mean by growth and being happy, being happy. That's what I mean. Happiness, I feel, is a choice, man. I feel like you could choose to be happy, because you could aim to make a certain amount of money, or you can aim to accomplish any kinds of goals. But as long as you're happy, because you can make $1 million, you can make $500,000, you can make $20, but are you happy? That's it. Happy in the process, trusting the process, or being happy wherever you're at.
Oh yeah.
That to me is,
of course,
that's my passion. Just hearing everybody's, like, I love hearing people's story. You know what I mean? Like, what made you where you are, like who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what put us here. That's what
Right.
put us in these chairs.
For sure.
Like that's what put this podcast. Like, it's that. It's the passion. It's the one. It's the one in the growth, and it's the one in the learn people. When you're talking to somebody, and let's say they say, "Oh, I'm passionate about this," or "I'm passionate about that," and then you talk to them, and then you kind of get in some type of relationship phase, and you get a little bit deeper. At what point do you feel like this was all a front, or maybe this isn't it, and you start, or this could even be with a friend or a coworker or something like that, any type of like somebody being in your life? When do you start feeling like you're outgrowing a situationship, a relationship, or a person in general? Like, have you I mean, as a person who plans a lot, is that something you run into often, like the whole outgrowing shit?
Nah, for sure. Like, at this point in my life, right now, 28 years old, I probably got like 4 friends, man. I probably got like a solid 4 or 5 people that I just keep around me, because each one of those people, they play a role, man. Each one of those people, they're doing something. Each one of those people, I know I could make a phone call and they'll get me up. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of outgrowing relationships, friendships, strictly friendships, what I'm talking now is that they could hold you down, man. You can have friends that all they want to do is just drink and party. But yo, what if I'm broke right now? Are you going to take me out? Nah. How about if I'm focusing on a project or I'm focusing on this job? Are you going to tell me, yo, I'm doing too much, or yo, we should chill? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like those friends are for right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Friends that are for the coro, for the vibe. But then if you get into a situation, they're nowhere to be found.
Oh, of course. I mean, I fully expect that if you have a friend that you're hanging out with all the time and only really going to like bars and clubs and stuff like that, then that's your bar and club type of friend. But the day that you're down and you're like, yo, can you loan me $200? The same $200 that they would have spent at the club, they're not going to give you it because they don't really have it, right? Or they don't have it for that situation. And that's when you realize, oh, wait. This is somebody who really don't got their shit in order. And I've only been hanging out with them for, like, because of this situation, let's say, because they hit me up when they want to party, or I hit them up when I want to party. But this is as far as this relationship goes. So then when you kind of surpass that point of your life and you notice, like, wait, this person's still doing the same shit, then that's the point where you kind of, they start hitting you with the, yo, what's up? What you doing tonight, bro? We're going to be in ... place. Or they hit you again and, yo, you're not coming out. And then they hit you again and you're not coming out. And that's when you kind of notice, like, wait, I didn't even mean to cut that person off, but I did. That's how I view outgrowing people. It's kind of like, it's natural. It's not something that we stiff on people and we're like, yo, peace, I'm on a new mission, or I'm on a new level, or I just got a pay raise, so peace out. It's kind of like, oh no, I've noticed that you're really on like this one mission, which is to spend all your money in the club, or you're on this one mission, which is to spend all your money on women, or you're on this one mission, which is to spend all your money in general, right? And I'm on this mission to do better. At what point does that backfire? Has that ever backfired? Or do you feel like the 4 people you can call real friends are people that are going to help you prosper?
100%. Because you see how you said, if you say no a couple times, you cut them off, right? The 4 friends I have, I could last months without talking to them. But once we pick up the phone call, it's like we spoke yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like time never passed, bro.
Yeah.
And those are friends that I know that are solid, because if I got to talk to you every day like you're my girl to justify our friendship, then are we? What is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, I'm into like the four or five people that I got in my circle. They all hold their role, man. And I had probably like 2-3 years ago, I would hang out with like 20 people.
Yeah.
But then it started shrinking. You started seeing how people, like, one of the biggest red flags when you hang around friends is if they talk about other friends around to you. You get what I'm saying? Like, talk behind. Then you start to, then a couple months later, you start to think, damn, so they talk about, this is what they talk to them about me. So what's any different? Like, you've been with that friends for like 10 years and I'm just a new dude in the block. Of course you're talking about me. Mm-hmm. So with those 4 people, I feel like less is more.
Yeah.
I feel like we could grow together. We could pick up the phone call. You know, even meeting you right now, bro. That's one of my closest boys, bro. And I'm telling you straight up, like, I've learned so much from this dude, man. Honestly speaking, in every situation I've been in, I can call him up. He may not answer right away. He probably take like 2 days. Be like, I just seen it. But I feel like every friend plays their role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just there for you in any aspect. And that's what I mean by my 4 or 5 friends is that we could go, yo, let's go for a hike. Or if the money's right, we could go for a drink. We could do everything, bro. But even if it's just coming to my crib and kicking it, because I could tell you, yo, I'm broke. You just want to enjoy my company. I feel like that's when the friendship is real. And it's not just, I guess, Mayweather. It's not just for the weather. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
It's not necessarily like I outgrew you because you're you. It's, nah, I'm growing. And you're obviously staying at this level, but I surpassed it in peace. And what are you providing for me? Because the conversations that I have with George are the same. Like, it's something like me and this dude are at the same level. And me and the other guys in this, me and the guys in this house, I'm happy to say I have older brothers in this house and I have brothers in this house, right? Like George Jacob being that, and Ariel and Aracy being like older brothers to me, people that have 10 years on me, or maybe not 10, maybe like close to 10 years on me, people who have gone through their own thing and they're teaching me their lessons. But at the same time, because of me learning from them as a young dude, like, I grew up crazy so I could give them feedback, and that's growth. That's real growth. We got this friendship, we got this relationship. I'm growing, and I'm growing right there with you, and I'm helping you grow. In other words, when I was young and I was doing fucked up shit and I was being an idiot, they helped me to the point where I elevated myself to the point where I could help them. And that's the shit that I feel like people lack. And when you just a young dude just hanging out at the clubs or chasing women 24/7, you're going to lose real ones. Because people like me, you, George, me, and the relationships I have with these people, you, the relationship you have with George and your other 3 friends, and the same with George, these are relationships that I find that I feel real deep down are gonna cultivate success. And if you just out there in the club, you're gonna lose people like us. In closing, I asked a question to Jacob, because he collects vinyls and he kind of inspired me to something. But it also raised a good topic. If you can put 3 vinyl albums, think about the album cover work and how much the album means to you in your living room, what would be those 3 albums?
It'll be J. Cole's "For Your Eyes Only."
Fire. Fire.
That's my number 1. So I'm aiming on top number 1 to 3, right?
Yeah. That's a man with taste. Yo, cheers to that.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers to that
For Your Eyes Only,
fucking.
bro. Yo, "For Your Eyes Only," bro. I'm a big J. Cole fan, by the way. For real.
Huge
J. Cole fan. Yo, so Number one, I said For Your Eyes Only. Number two, an album that stuck with me hard, that I love, honestly, is another J. Cole album, Born Sinner.
Okay.
Bro. And, you know, and another album, number three, I have to say, honestly, like from this era, I'm talking about this era, but my top three, I'll say Nothing Was the Same, Drake. That album hit me hard, bro. Growing up, I remember working in Macy's. That album is so nostalgic, bro. When I listen to Born Sinner and listen to Nothing Was the Same, I remember working retail in Macy's, bro.
Yeah.
See my man George, bro. That was, we used to hide out, bro. We used to take 3-hour lunches for Carajo at 42nd, 34th Street, bro. But each one of those albums, bro, they all sit with me in a certain way. And honestly, I don't know. Those are my top three albums, and I was actually looking at them to have the two Born Sinner and For Your Eyes Only actually put the cover.
If I start asking the guests this question and they start getting these albums because of this shit, I just want to say from right now, this was Jacob. This was completely. I'm giving this completely to you. All right. Yo, this was good, bro. Yo, cheers.
Cheers, man.
George, cheers. This right here is going to be the introduction to me interviewing people that either I know because we've met before, but this was the most intimate setting, right? Like, we have not had a conversation this deep.
Right.
Like, this is me really getting to know you. This is exactly, like, you motherfuckers got to know him just as much as I got to know him today, right? This is what I'm going for. Like, this is exactly what I want for the podcast. And I just want you to know that there's takeaways in all of this shit. Like, it's not just throwaways. This is not us talking about Kanye West bugging out, even though we might touch on shit like that. But this is genuine people interviewing about their life and about their views. And I hope to have way more of these, and I hope to have you on. Anyways, right back to it. This is the Small Marble Table. This is Small Marble Podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and I hope to see you soon. Peace out. Don't take yourself too serious, but grow the fuck up. And peace.